Welcome back to our channel, my friends. Today we embark on a captivating exploration into the disquieting truth of the millions of people in China who are living with the startling reality of disappearing ground. This beautiful country, rich in culture and history, is today facing an environmental crisis like never before. A crisis that is not of the sort we are accustomed to hearing about, but one that poses just as grueling a challenge. The nation is being challenged with a severe and highly critical subsidence problem. It is a truly alarming issue. Whole neighborhoods, once bustling and vibrant, are now living in fear of the ground beneath their feet sinking. It is a predicament that is not only affecting the citizens' daily lives but also having far-reaching effects on the country's economy and infrastructure. To provide a more in-depth perspective, Dr. Wang Sheng, a highly esteemed geologist who has spent a significant portion of his career studying this phenomenon, provides his expert analysis. His revelations paint a very somber picture of the future. He forecasts, in the forthcoming 2 decades, we predict that up to 50 cities in China could encounter substantial sinking. This would have a catastrophic impact on over 80 million inhabitants. To put that into perspective, that is an estimated 80 million lives. An equivalent to the entire population of Germany whose homes, livelihoods and very existence are threatened by this crisis. An issue so massive, yet so invisible. Homes, schools, hospitals and whole cities may have to be relocated or even abandoned. But what is causing this sinking, and what can be done to prevent it? These are just some of the questions that we will be exploring throughout this documentary. This is not a plot from disaster movie, rather, a pressing crisis. This documentary is about an alarm that needs to be sounded, about a crisis that deserves global attention. The sinking of China is not just China's problem, it's an issue that affects us all. Welcome on board for a journey of understanding and awareness. The primary culprit? Excessive groundwater extraction. This phrase may seem simple, but it carries enormous weight. The topic at hand is not just about a single action, but a global phenomenon that impacts our planet in numerous ways. The act of extracting groundwater beyond a certain limit has severe consequences. Experts from various disciplines such as hydrology, geology, and environmental science have extensively researched and confirmed this. Why is the excessive groundwater extraction a concerning issue? As per expert analysis, the problem arises when our rate of groundwater withdrawal starts to exceed nature's ability to replenish it. They argue that groundwater operates much like a savings account. It has its limits and boundaries. The water underground gets replenished through a natural process, a bit like monthly income that feeds a savings account. Each time we extract water, it's like making a withdrawal from that account. But what would happen if we started spending at a rate faster than our income? The savings would deplete, and eventually we would run out of. The situation with groundwater is quite similar. When we pull out water faster than nature can refill it, we are spending our natural capital at an unsustainable rate. This phenomenon triggers an alarming reaction, which is the sinking of the land above. The land surface, which is essentially supported by the underground water, starts to succumb under its own weight when the water is removed excessively. Imagine removing the foundation stones from a mighty building. It will start to sink, right? That's precisely what happens with the land when groundwater is excessively extracted. One of the leading voices in this field, Professor Liu Jian from Beijing University, explicates this situation further. He uses an relatable analogy to make us understand the direness of this situation. He explains, the rate at which we're depleting groundwater reserves is unsustainable. It's akin to withdrawing money from your bank account at a pace faster than you can replenish it. In conclusion, excessive groundwater extraction is a practice that needs immediate attention and rectification. We need to respect and follow nature's pace and let it replenish its resources. Otherwise, we're heading towards an environmental crisis that will affect every living being on this planet. This predicament extends beyond China's borders. It's a worldwide concern. We are not just talking about the ecological imbalance within the confines of a single nation. This is an issue that spreads its tendrils across continents, affecting both developing and developed countries. From the bustling metropolis of Tokyo to the quaint towns of Italy, the story remains the same. A myriad of global cities are falling victim to this growing crisis. They are sinking, their foundations eroding due to practices eerily similar. The concrete jungles that we have built, the skyscrapers that touch the clouds, they all stand on ground that is slowly sinking into oblivion. The beautiful landscapes, the architectural marvels, and the vibrant cultures that these cities host are all at risk. One of the major contributing factors to this is groundwater extraction. We have been tapping into Earth's water reserves for ages, using it to quench our thirst, to irrigate and to support our industries. But the uncontrolled, unregulated extraction of this precious resource is leading to dire consequences. The ground is caving in, unable to bear the vacuum left by the extracted water. Dr. Helen Bonsor from the British Geological Survey is one of the leading voices in this field. She has spent her life studying this phenomenon, her work taking her to the farthest corners of the planet. She warns us, bringing attention to this impending catastrophe. She cautions, we must comprehend that the water beneath our feet is not an inexhaustible resource, it's a ticking time bomb. Dr. Bonsor's words should not fall on deaf ears. We must heed her warning and understand the gravity of the situation. We have to realize that the resources we take for granted are not endless. We must learn to use them judiciously, to manage them wisely. We should remember that our actions today will determine the fate of our future generations. If we continue to exploit our resources recklessly, we may leave them a world that is sinking, a world that is on the brink of catastrophe. It's a ticking time bomb, one that we have the power to defuse if only we choose to act. However, the situation is not entirely bleak. There's a glimmer of hope in the midst of the crisis. A silver lining in the cloud of despair. We are not devoid of solutions. There are indeed methods available to alleviate the sinking problem that has been plaguing us. One such method has been proposed by Dr. Wang, a renowned hydrologist known for his innovative solutions in addressing water-related issues. Dr. Wang has always emphasized the importance of sustainable water management, and in this case is no exception. He suggests an approach that is both reactive and proactive, an approach that is rooted in understanding the root cause of the problem and tackling it head-on. According to Dr. Wang, the issue lies in our excessive and uncontrolled groundwater extraction. We have been relentlessly sucking water from beneath the surface, depleting our groundwater reserves and causing the ground to sink. Initially, he postulates, we need to our groundwater extraction. This means we must limit the amount of water we extract from the ground, allowing the earth to recover and stabilize. But reining in groundwater extraction is just the first step. The next course of action, Dr. Wang suggests, is replenishment. Subsequently, we need to replenish our underground water reserves, he asserts. By directing water back into the ground, we can restore the balance and support the earth from within, preventing further sinking. It's encouraging to note that the Chinese government is taking Dr. Wang's proposals seriously. They have initiated moves towards rectification, recognizing the urgency of the problem and need for immediate action. The government is enforcing stricter water management policies, advocating for the responsible use of water resources. Furthermore, they are not just restricting themselves to curtailing groundwater extraction. They are also exploring alternative water sources' dependency on groundwater. Investment in technologies such as desalination and water recycling is being ramped up, opening up new possibilities for meeting water needs without exacerbating the sinking problem. The Chinese government has initiated moves towards rectification. They are enforcing stricter water management policies and are investing in alternative water sources such as desalination and water recycling. There are further steps we can undertake. The first involves an unwavering commitment to endorsing research into sustainable water practices. This is not simply about making a promise, but about actively participating in funding and encouraging research into eco-friendly, long-term strategies for water use. We must not underestimate the power of lobbying for improved water management policies either. A policy change can have a far-reaching impact, and effective lobbying could result in legislation that promotes sustainable water usage. It's not just about persuading decision-makers, it's about rallying communities and using collective voices to push for necessary change. Next, we can step up our efforts to educate ourselves and others regarding the significance of water conservation. It's not merely about personal habits, it's about understanding the larger picture. It's about the direct link between our daily water practices and the well-being of our planet. We should make use of available resources to increase awareness, foster changes in behavior, and encourage others to do the same. Dr. Liu concludes, comprehension is the first step towards action. The more we discern, the more we can contribute to preventing our cities from subsiding. This is a call to arms. The more knowledge we gain, the better equipped we are to combat the imminent threats to our water security. We are all stakeholders in this endeavor. Remember, Every drop counts and every step makes a difference. So, ponder this. The next time you turn on your tap, consider the immense impact your actions have on the world around you. Spare a moment to think about the countless households around the globe, their foundations gradually crumbling, disappearing into the depths of encroaching waters. Imagine the lives disrupted, the families displaced, the communities irreparably damaged. This is not the result of a natural disaster, but rather a man-made catastrophe. When you turn on your faucet and let the water run unnecessarily, it's easy to forget the broader implications of what you might cause. It's not just about the water you're wasting, but also about the resources used to purify it and the energy spent to deliver it to your home. Now, remember of those who do not have the luxury of running water at their fingertips. Those whose homes, once places of solace and shelter, are now sinking into the rising seas. These individuals are not mere statistics, but human beings whose lives are being irrevocably changed by our collective ignorance and inaction. This situation is made worse by our pervasive ignorance, by our inability or unwillingness to face the reality of our actions. We are not merely drowning in water, but own obliviousness. Our world isn't simply sinking in water, it's sinking in a sea of ignorance. But despair not, for within us lies the power to correct our course, the power to turn the tide in our favor, power to say enough and take steps towards a sustainable and equitable future. We don't need to stand idly by while our world sinks. We possess the power to alter this. And while the task ahead is daunting, it is not insurmountable. Together, we can make a difference, one drop at a time. Please like and subscribe for more videos like this.